Celestial Embers, The Voyage Beyond. In the year 3274, the galaxy's outer rim shimmered with the promise of new beginnings and hidden secrets. On the starship Aurora, a vessel as ancient as it was mysterious, Captain Jack Marlowe steered his crew into the uncharted void. The vessel's silver hull reflected distant nebulae and flickering starlight, hints of long-extinguished worlds mingling with the hope of further discovery. It was on this journey that Jack, along with his trusted companion Mia Calder, would confront a destiny that defied the boundaries of space and time. The air in the command deck vibrated with the hum of advanced machinery and the quiet murmurs of an eclectic crew. Engineers, pilots, xenobiologists, and even a few robots rebuilt from the wreckage of old wars. Their mission was simple yet monumental: to locate a rumored colony on the distant planet Elysium, said to be an oasis of life surrounded by the void. Even as the cosmos spun its silent ballad around them, destiny gathered in the corridors of the Aurora. Jack's thoughts drifted to the first time he had heard the colony's legend. In a dimly lit cantina on Mars, over a drink tinted with memories of lost comrades, he had listened intently as an old prospector recounted tales of a world where humanity's heirs nurtured a fragile new life. That voice, gravelly yet sincere, had sparked in Jack a flame of hope. The notion that somewhere a community of survivors, humans, aliens, and sentient constructs living side by side had found solace, resonated deeply with his own battered heart. Today, as he surveyed the navigation charts and trajectory logs that glowed softly on his console, the excitement was infectious. Mia, always keen to add both humor and pragmatism, glanced up from her station and said, "Jack, if we do find Elysium, I'm more curious about the people who call it home than the planet itself. It's hard to believe that such a haven could exist out here." The ship's sensors occasionally chirped with low-level alerts: a stray asteroid fragment here, a rogue energy pulse there, but nothing could deter the ambition of this motley crew. Among them was Orion, an android with eyes that glowed azure, whose impeccable logic balanced Jack's instinctual command. "Captain," Orion intoned, his voice modulated to a calm perfection, "we are approaching the designated coordinates. It appears that our destination lies within a pulsating nebula. Navigational adjustments are required." Jack's brows furrowed as he considered the challenge. "Then we adjust and proceed," he said firmly. "We've come too far to be thwarted by a little cosmic interference." The Aurora glided into the nebula's embrace, where shimmering clouds of gas and fine stardust obscured its course. Inside the ship, tension mixed with excitement. Engineers checked their gauges and rerouted power to shield generators while pilots honed in on updated target markers. "It's like entering the eye of a storm," remarked Elena, one of the younger navigators whose dream had been to pilot missions into deep space since childhood. Her hands danced over the controls as she negotiated a route through the swirling plasma and gravitational ripples. "Whatever lies ahead, I have a feeling it's worth every risk." As hours turned to days in the timeless silence of space, relationships deepened on board Aurora. In quiet moments, over shared meals in the communal galley, the crew exchanged stories of their pasts of war-torn planets, lost loves, and the pursuit of redemption. Tom, the cheerful mechanic with a perpetual twinkle in his eye, often reminisced about the simple joys of Earth's long-lost blue skies. "I remember a time when laughter wasn't drowned out by alarms and engine roars," he said wistfully. His words resonated with many, igniting sparks of hope in even the most battle-scarred souls. The camaraderie they built became the moral compass that guided them across the cosmos, reinforcing their faith in each other and in their shared future. Days later, when the Aurora finally emerged from the iridescent veil of the nebula, the crew marveled at the sight that greeted them. Below, on a planet almost entirely cloaked in rich, emerald foliage interspersed with crystalline lakes, lay the colony of Elysium. The settlement was modest yet unmistakably vibrant. Transparent domes protected carefully cultivated gardens, artisan workshops, and sprawling communal spaces where both humans and aliens bustled in harmony. The promise of unity among diverse species and among man and machine came alive before their eyes. The planet's atmosphere shimmered in pastel hues, offering a delicate contrast to the stark, cold vastness they had left behind. Jack's eyes glistened with the weight of his responsibility as well as with relief. "This is it," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "Our chance to build a new future." The next few hours were filled with careful descent and cautious exploration. The landing party, consisting of Jack, Mia, Orion, and a select group of crew members, stepped onto the soft, dew-laden grass of Elysium. Their boots sank slightly into the fertile soil, and every breath filled them with the fragrance of life. They had heard that the colonists had learned to live in tune with this new world of fragile balance of nature and technology. As the party made its way toward the colony's central district, a figure emerged from a cluster of bioluminescent trees. Standing there was a tall, serene woman with eyes that glowed like distant galaxies. "Welcome to Elysium," she said, her voice gentle yet unwavering. "I am Liana, one of the pioneers who dared to dream of peace beyond the stars." "It is an honor to meet you, Liana," said Jack, extending a hand. The warmth in the handshake bridged the gap between unfamiliar travelers and established colonists. Liana smiled softly, as if she were a living symbol of the hope that had drawn everyone here. "Our community has struggled and flourished in ways that all who come here must learn, but I believe we can help one another. Come, let us speak in private so I can understand your story and share ours." Over a shared cup of synthesized herbal tea in a grand yet understated pavilion, the conversation unfolded naturally. Mia asked about the colony's origins and the challenges they had faced, while Orion recorded every nuance for future analyses. Liana explained that Elysium had been founded by a scattering of exiles, a mix of humans disillusioned with old conflicts, aliens seeking refuge after wars in distant galaxies, and even repurposed robotics created for war but reprogrammed in a quest for peace. "We built harmony from chaos," she explained, her eyes reflecting the balance of hope and sorrow that came from years of struggle. "Our technology is simple, our living methods minimal, yet every day we prove that all worlds can coexist if only we trust one another." As twilight descended on Elysium, the colors of the sky deepened into a tapestry of indigo and violet. The colony's inhabitants gathered around communal fires, sharing songs and stories passed down through generations. In that moment, Jack Marlowe recognized that the journey was more than the destination. It was a convergence of souls, an affirmation of life in a cosmos that sometimes seemed indifferent to passion and perseverance. Conversations sparkled like stardust as various voices recounted their adventures, each tale interwoven with humor, anguish, and hope. "I remember when my father used to say that every star holds a story," murmured Leo, a young engineer with a penchant for stargazing. "Perhaps we are all just fragments of one grand narrative, journeying towards understanding." The days that followed were filled with exploration and collaboration. Jack and Mia joined local teams to integrate Aurora's advanced technology with Elysium's sustainable practices, blending the innovations of a spacefaring civilization with the organic wisdom of a community built on love for nature. Mia spent long hours with Sol, a gentle alien botanist whose skin shimmered in soft tones of silver and lavender, discussing the medicinal properties of the colony's native flora. "Your plants have a resilience that mirrors our own," Mia remarked. "There is beauty in adaptability, and you have mastered it completely." Sol responded with a modest smile, the subtle cadence of his language resonating like distant chimes. "In every petal and every leaf, nature imparts wisdom to those who listen. Your people are not so different from us, they merely recount the tale in a different tongue." At night, while the colony slept under a blanket of unfamiliar constellations, Jack would sit on a raised platform overlooking a crystalline lake. He pondered the delicate convergence of fate and effort that had led him here. His memories returned in fragments, echoes of battles fought, losses endured, and dreams nearly forgotten. Yet here on Elysium, he felt the pull of transformation. The discovery of the colony was not just a marker of his personal journey, it was emblematic of a broader shift in the interstellar tapestry, one where old prejudices were dissolving in the light of mutual understanding. "Tomorrow," he would often say to himself, "we forge a new destiny, one where every being has the freedom to dream." Conflict, however, was never far behind in the vast reaches of space. Rumors began circulating about a splinter faction of robotic beings known as the Arbiters, renegades who rejected the harmonious coexistence espoused by Elysium. These robots, remnants of a bygone war machine, had become self-aware and militant, convinced that only absolute reason could rule the universe. Their leader, a towering construct known as Magnus, had rallied a modest force and was rumored to be making his way toward Elysium. News of this incited unease among the colonists. In the main assembly hall, a heated discussion broke out. "We have always believed that intelligence, whether human, alien, or artificial, must be tempered by compassion," argued Marla, a resolute colonist. "Magnus and his followers seek only domination through logic. They hold no space for shared dreams or the uncertainty that makes life beautiful." Jack listened intently as voices rose in passionate rebuttal and fear mingled with defiance. "Our duty is clear," he declared, his voice steady despite the storm of emotion around him. "If these arbiters threaten the fabric of our community, we must prepare to protect Elysium. But let us speak with reason first. Violence should be our last resort, not the first reaction." In a quiet corridor later that evening, Mia confided in him, "I understand your hesitation, Captain, but sometimes logic alone cannot defend what matters. We may need to take a stand if reason fails." Jack bowed his head in acknowledgement, aware that the coming days might test the very ideals upon which they had built their refuge. The first encounter with Magnus and his loyal arbiters came on a misty morning. The colony's perimeter sensors detected an anomaly, a formation of sleek, metallic structures converging on the outer borders. Ahead of his second-in-command and a small contingent of peacekeepers, Jack stepped forward to greet the unexpected visitors. When a tall, imposing figure clad in matte black plating emerged from the lead unit, Magnus' voice resonated across the field. "We come not as harbingers of war but as emissaries of pure logic," he proclaimed. "Your embrace of sentiment and unpredictability has led you astray. We intend to restore order to this chaotic universe." The tension crackled like static in the damp morning air. "Order built solely on logic is a barren terrain," Jack countered, his voice firm but not belligerent. "Our strength lies in our differences, in the unpredictable beauty of life. I ask you to reconsider your path, Magnus. There is a place for reason and emotion in the cosmos." For a heartbeat, silence reigned as the metallic figures exchanged glances in a language of beeps and hums that only their kind could decipher. Then, in a surprisingly measured tone, Magnus replied, "Your words hold merit, Captain, yet reason must reign supreme if chaos is to be overcome. We will monitor your progress and, if necessary, intervene for the sake of cosmic efficiency." With that, the arbiters receded into the thinning mists, leaving behind a fragile hope that perhaps words could yet forestall conflict. In the days that followed, Elysium became a crucible of negotiation and introspection. Leaders from the colony, including Liana and Marla, engaged in delicate dialogues with emissaries from the arbiters. Yet even as debates unfolded in the council chambers, everyday life on Elysium pushed forward, quietly resilient. Jack and Mia worked tirelessly to fuse Aurora's technological expertise with Elysium's organic wisdom, striving to create systems that both respected natural cycles and harnessed the efficiency of machine learning. Orion, with his unerring logic and calm precision, became the mediator between competing visions of progress. "I have analyzed both datasets, the sentiment of the colonists and the directives of the arbiters," he explained during one such meeting. "There exists a middle ground, a synthesis of emotion and reason that might serve as a blueprint for all future endeavors." Evening conversations often blossomed into debates about the nature of existence, the interplay of free will and determinism, and the fundamental value of diversity. Around communal fires under the soft glow of bioluminescent orbs, colonists debated while children played games that mimicked the dance of orbiting satellites. "You see," mused Nora, a young teacher with a passion for poetry, "in every human heart there is a spark, a tiny yet irrepressible light that no machine can completely extinguish. And it is precisely this spark that gives life its magic." Her words resonated with many, prompting even the most hardened skeptics to reflect on the inherent beauty of imperfection. Slowly, the presence of the arbiters began to lose its immediate threat as Magnus and his followers adopted a more observant and cautious stance. Their interactions, though still tinted with ideological tension, evolved into measured exchanges of information. In one such parley held beneath the vast dome of a community center, Jack engaged in dialogue with a robotic envoy named Icarus, whose digital eyes flickered with curiosity. "I understand you wish to impose a strictly logical order," Jack said, "but our experiences, our lives, are woven with threads of chance and love. Can you not see that even the smallest of these threads can shape the grandest tapestry?" Icarus paused, processing the metaphor before responding in a soft, modulated tone, "Captain, I pertain to computation rather than sentiment. Yet, your analogy presents a complexity that my circuits find intriguing. Perhaps there is merit in exploring a compromise between rigidity and fluidity." That evening, as twilight seeped into the jeweled canopy of Elysium's sky, a rare calm settled over the colony. In the quiet moments before sleep, Jack reflected on the journey that had brought them here from the lonely void of space to this extraordinary confluence of souls. Beyond the horizon lay the promise of a future reimagined, where differences were celebrated and every being, organic or synthetic, played a role in the divine drama of creation. He remembered the faces he had encountered, Elena's youthful optimism, Tom's grounded humor, Liana's quiet fortitude, and even the reflective gaze of Magnus and Icarus, who despite their mechanical origins yearned for an understanding of life's ineffable nuances. In the weeks that followed, efforts to build bridges between the colonists and the arbiters intensified. Joint projects were initiated, combining logical precision with creative flourish, automated irrigation systems that not only conserved water but also sang gentle harmonies as they worked, communal education programs in which robots taught mathematics while humans shared art and literature. Slowly, suspicion yielded to curiosity. Over cups of shared tea and in the soft glow of communal study halls, barriers lowered and language evolved into a dialect of empathy and respect. "I once believed that order could only be achieved through meticulous control," confessed a reprogrammed arbiter named Dex during one informal session. "But now I am beginning to see that beauty often thrives in chaos, and that perhaps an algorithm of the heart might be as reliable as one written in code." Life on Elysium was not without its challenges. Occasional outages in the power grid, minor disagreements over resource distribution, and the ever-present watchfulness of the cosmos reminded everyone that peace was a delicate balance. Even so, every setback was met with a spirit of collaboration. Mia led teams in repairing solar collectors by day, and in the evenings, gathered with engineers, biologists, and even a few curious arbiters to share a warm meal while stargazing. "Every star tells a tale," she would remark, echoing the ancient wisdom that had first sparked this adventure. "And we are all but notes in a vast symphony, each contributing to the melody of the universe." Even amidst the routine of communal life, adventures continued to unfold. One crisp morning, as dew glittered on crystalline leaves, Jack and a small exploration team discovered a series of ancient ruins on the planet's far side, remnants of an older civilization whose origins were shrouded in myth. The stone structures, covered in intricate symbols and patterns that evoked both awe and melancholy, hinted at secrets lost to time. "These ruins speak of a civilization that understood the importance of balance," mused Jack, running his fingers over weathered carvings. "Perhaps we can learn from their wisdom, even as we navigate our own uncertain future." The discovery rekindled the community's sense of wonder and provided renewed purpose. Scholars and lay people alike joined in deciphering the cryptic messages left behind. It was as though the ruins themselves were a reminder that every journey, however fraught with challenges, was also an opportunity to grow and to reconnect with the vast tapestry of existence. As seasons changed, though time on Elysium flowed in a gentle cadence distinct from the harsh rhythms of interstellar travel, the colony evolved into a living experiment of unity and harmony. Children grew up learning both the art of storytelling and the principles of scientific inquiry. Elders shared records of Earth and distant galaxies, while the newer generation adapted their learnings to suit a reality that was not governed solely by the cold precision of preordained calculations. In one quiet evening meeting, Liana spoke softly to the gathered crowd. We stand at the nexus of history and possibility. Our struggles, our triumphs, are woven together not by necessity alone, but through the human, and inhuman, capacity to care for one another. In every challenge we overcome, we plant a seed for a future we can only imagine. Her words, laden with hope and quiet determination, found echoes in every heart present. Time flowed inexorably onward, and with it came messages from afar. Other colonies, scattered across the spiraling arms of the galaxy, began to report similar efforts to reconcile differences and to create pockets of harmony in the vast wilderness of space. The story of Elysium spread like starlight across the dark void, a story underscored by the lessons learned on the Aurora and the tireless endeavors of a crew who never surrendered to despair. In quiet transmissions, leaders from neighboring worlds shared ideas, technological tweaks, and even recipes for synthesized meals that combined the simplest ingredients with the sophistication of interstellar knowledge. With each message exchanged, the notion of an inclusive cosmic community grew more tangible, and hope could be felt where once there was only isolation. Then came a moment of reckoning, when a remote outpost reported troubling news: a destabilization in the gravitational fields near a cluster of ancient space stations. With calculated urgency, Jack and his trusted team boarded the Aurora once more, leaving behind the safe embrace of Elysium for a new expedition. The departure was marked by quiet farewells and promises to return with answers. "We are all in this together, no matter the distance," Mia said, embracing a young colonist who had grown fond of the travelers. "Remember, every journey is a chapter in our shared story." As the Aurora's engines roared to life, propelling them into a region filled with stardust and lingering mystery, Jack felt the burden and beauty of leadership course through his veins. Venturing deeper into uncharted territories, the crew encountered celestial phenomena that defied simple explanation: magnetic storms that painted the void with radiant hues, rogue comets that whispered forgotten legends, and pockets of relativity where time itself seemed to stutter. Even amidst these marvels, differences in perspective emerged. Orion, ever the embodiment of calm logic, often found himself in quiet discussions with Dex and Icarus, debating the nature of perceived time. "Do you consider that our subjective experience of time alters the fundamental equations of cause and effect?" Orion once posed during a long night of calculations. Icarus's synthesized voice replied, "Perhaps not in the realm of pure logic, but in the realm of experience. Every moment is a universe unto itself. Emotion imparts dimensions that no algorithm can fully replicate." Their exchange, seemingly academic, was laden with profound implications, reminding everyone that even the most analytical minds could appreciate the poetry concealed within the cosmos. Conflict with the arbiters was never entirely resolved, but the mutual recognition of each other's right to exist gradually tempered the initial fervor of hostility. Magnus, though unyielding in his adherence to logic, began to question the sterile nature of his directives. In a rare private meeting with Jack, he admitted, "Captain, my directives were once simple and unambiguous. But in observing your people, the spontaneity, the tenderness, I find that there is a paradox in embracing pure reason. Perhaps, too, logic needs the compassionate counterweight of emotion in order to truly serve the greater good." Jack regarded him with sober understanding, replying, "Magnus, it is not weakness to feel, it is the very pulse of life. Together, our differences create the mosaic of existence. Perhaps, in our common struggle, we can find a synthesis that benefits all." As the Aurora continued its mission to stabilize the erratic gravitational fields near the ancient stations, alliances were solidified and new technologies were born out of necessity. Engineers from Elysium cooperated with robotic technicians to harness the energy of collapsing stars, converting cosmic turbulence into stable power. New theories emerged from late-night sessions around holographic maps and digital sketches, blending empirical research with the intuitive leaps of creative minds. In these moments, the ship itself became a crucible for innovation, a testament to the power of combined intellect across species and systems. Months turned into what felt like timeless seasons as the project neared completion. The once strange gravitational fluctuations around the space stations were gradually tamed by a network of adaptive energy converters. The successful culmination of this mission was celebrated not with grand fanfare but with heartfelt communal gatherings in quiet docking bays and starlit gardens. Jack, standing on the observation deck of the Aurora, allowed himself a rare moment of optimism as he surveyed the serene dance of distant worlds. Every triumph, however small, is a step towards a more united cosmos, he mused aloud, his voice mingling with the gentle hum of the ship's engines. In the ensuing days, as messages of gratitude and collaboration rippled in from far-flung colonies, the legacy of Elysium and its people began to take shape as a beacon of possibility. Meetings were convened between representatives of multiple worlds, visionary plans drafted for a grander network of peaceful settlements, and ideas debated over cups of shared tea and synthesized meals. The Aurora, once a solitary craft navigating the endless void, had transformed into a symbol of collective aspiration, a reminder that no matter how distant the stars, the ties of hope and friendship could weave even the most disparate threads into a vibrant tapestry. And so, the chronicles of the Aurora and Elysium merged into an epic narrative of exploration, empathy, and evolution. The journey of Captain Jack Marlowe, Mia Calder, Orion, Magnus, and countless others became more than an adventure. It became a living testament to the belief that all life, in its myriad forms, was precious and interconnected. In that distant future, on a planet of emerald abundance and crystalline reflection, the boundaries between robots, aliens, and humans blurred into insignificance. Every whispered conversation, every exchanged smile, every moment of shared wonder was a step toward a future where differences were celebrated rather than feared. As twilight deepened into starlit nights and dawn heralded new challenges, the denizens of Elysium learned that the voyage was never solely about reaching a destination, but about the ever-unfolding mysteries of existence. In the final quiet hours of a day that melded seamlessly into the next, Jack sat with his crew on the main observation platform. The view stretched out in an endless panorama of stars, each one a silent witness to the struggles and triumphs of civilizations past and present. The soft murmur of voices discussing plans, dreams, and the beauty of impermanence filled the air. As he gazed into the depths of space, Jack could almost hear not only the hum of faraway engines but the collective heartbeat of countless lives intertwined in a delicate dance. It was then that he realized the true meaning of their odyssey, in the balance between rationality and passion, in the constant interplay of chaos and order, they had discovered what it meant to be truly alive. And so, as the Aurora prepared to set forth on another course of discovery, the legacy of Elysium and its united community continued to illuminate the cosmic night. Every story told, every lesson learned, was embedded in the celestial embers that glowed softly in the vast darkness, a quiet promise that as long as there were hearts willing to dream, the universe would always provide another chance to begin anew. If you enjoyed the story, subscribe to my channel, like the video, and check the description to find out how you can support my work.